The attacks have reportedly caused significant civilian casualties. According to Iranian media, an airstrike killed at least 85 people and injured many more at a girls' school in Minab, Hormozgan province, and the school in Tehran was also reportedly hit, causing 2 deaths. Mr. President, military action is expanding rapidly across the region, creating an increasingly volatile and unpredictable situation and heightening the risk of miscalculation. According to Israeli sources, 89 people have been injured in Iran's subsequent strikes on Israel, and there were also impacts in the occupied West Bank. Iran has announced that in reaction to US and Israeli airstrikes, it targeted US military assets in the region. These strikes have reportedly hit civilian areas and infrastructure in the countries that I have already mentioned. Indirect impact of falling debris was also reported in Lebanon and Syria. Most Gulf states successfully intercepted the Iranian strikes. However, the UAE reported that 1 civilian was killed by debris from an intercepted missile. In Iraq, there are reports of drone and missile attacks from both sides. There are also reports that Iran is closing the Strait of Hormuz for international shipping. Mr. President, the US and Israel attacks occurred following the 3rd round of indirect talks between the US and Iran mediated by Oman. Preparations had been made for technical talks in Vienna next week, followed by a new round of political talks. I deeply regret that this opportunity of diplomacy has been squandered. Mr. President, third, the region and the world need a way out now. I call for de-escalation and an immediate cessation of hostilities. The alternative is a potential wider conflict with grave consequences for civilians and regional stability. I strongly urge all parties to return immediately to the negotiating table, notably on the Iran nuclear program. I note that the US President has reportedly talked with leaders of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Iran's foreign minister has reportedly spoken to his counterparts in GCC countries and Iraq, and everything must be done to prevent a further escalation. To this end, I call on all member states to strictly uphold their obligations under international law, including the UN Charter, to respect and protect civilians in accordance with international humanitarian law, and to ensure nuclear safety. Let us act responsibly and together to pull the region and our world back from the brink. Thank you.
I thank the Secretary-General for his briefing. I now give the floor to those Council members who wish to make statements. I give the floor to the representative of France.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'd like to thank the Secretary-General of the United Nations, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, for his comprehensive, enlightening briefing. I'd also like to thank the Presidency of the Council for having convened this meeting at such short notice. The President of the French Republic, Monsieur Emmanuel Macron, asked that the Council immediately deal with this issue given the seriousness of the moment. Mr. President, this region needs peace. And in order to do this, we need Iran to respect its international obligations. We are very concerned at the launch of this new war between the United States, Israel, and Iran. The escalation underway is dangerous for everyone, and it must cease immediately. Faithful to principles and attachment to the United Nations, France calls for de-escalation, and we would recall that respect for international law is the condition for stability and long-term security in the region and throughout the world. We robustly condemn the indiscriminate attacks by Iran against several countries of the region. It is essential that we ensure the protection of civilians, and we express our solidarity with the countries that have been struck: Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and with our regional partners. And we are ready to deploy the means necessary to protect them if they so request. We will take all measures necessary to ensure the security of our citizens in the Middle East. Mr. President, the events today come in the context of the ongoing pursuit by Iran of its nuclear program that is destabilizing and is contrary to the general guarantees system and resolutions of this Council. For years now, despite the diplomatic efforts deployed by France with our partners, Iran has not taken the opportunity to conclude an agreement with regard to a peaceful settlement with regard to its nuclear program. In parallel, Iran has reduced its cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, which for a long time now has not been able to guarantee the peaceful nature of the Iranian nuclear problem. For many months now, the agency has not had access to the most sensitive sites of the Iranian program. Transparency has still not been provided with regard to the Iranian stock of highly enriched at 6% uranium, which represents an amount which is potentially enough to produce around 10 explosive nuclear warheads.
ലോകത്തെവിടെയായാലും ഏത് സമയത്തും 24 വാർത്തകളും ഓഗ്മെന്റഡ് റിയാലിറ്റി പാക്കേജുകളും എക്സ്പ്ലെയിനറുകളും വിശദമായി കാണാൻ ഞങ്ങളുടെ യൂട്യൂബ് ചാനൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാം.